Good evening, all. My name is Annette, and I am here from Word on the Curve. I'd like to thank you for joining me again this evening. And for the 7,000 plus who view me on TikTok at Word on the Curve podcast, thank you. We appreciate it. I'd like to welcome you back. And for those of you who will listen now and or later, thank you. Thank you very much. I want to remind you how important it is to hydrate, tea, water, juice, whatever you choose works. But hydrate, eat fruit, mind your business. Let's talk about when you've made your point, right? So today, our topic is if you know, you know. And one thing I'd like to stress this evening is I'm going to make 2 or 3 solid points, and that's it. But I am going to elaborate a little bit on what happens when you know. And if you know, you know. I, as well as many others, don't always like to hear things that pain me, that make me feel bad. I get that. And I also know that the most powerful thing in any situation where there's disagreement that you can do is close your mouth. No response, that's our topic. No response is a response, and it is the most powerful response. Because, see, typically when people disagree about things, one, if not everybody involved, will get angry, especially if it's hurting them or making them feel bad or making them take a look at themselves or their behavior, right? It can get ugly. But here's my position. No response is a powerful response because it is a response, right? I don't fight and argue. Once I make a point, once I have already conveyed my message, whatever it is, I avoid unnecessary responses. Now, there are times when you need to respond, but I avoid unnecessary responses when I've already conveyed a message. For example, if I leave a friendship for whatever reasons and I'm gone, I've already conveyed the message. Back and forth and responses regarding it are unnecessary. If I leave a relationship on the job with a significant other, it doesn't matter. If I leave the relationship and I'm gone, I've already conveyed the message. Because typically in difficult situations, I'm gone long before I leave. One of the hardest things for people to deal with is the truth. It's very difficult. And that applies to all of us at some point in time. Every single one of us. There are people who believe that their truth is the only truth. When they find out it's not, that can be difficult, right? So the truth can hurt. But if I want you to remember anything about situations that you might be in that are uncomfortable, once or not, it may or may not be uncomfortable. But once you've conveyed your message, don't go back and forth. Don't do that. Because then what happens is if the other party disagrees, you set yourself up for an unnecessary battle and you've already conveyed your message. Why would you fight? Why would you argue? Why would you go back and forth? The truth is the truth. And I'm going to tell you something. The truth doesn't give a damn about your opinion. It doesn't, right? Don't ever be ashamed of where you've been, the struggles you've had, and the things that you've gone through. As long as you have good character, where you do the right thing, where you're not practicing uh, bad behavior, right? As long as you're not doing that, once you convey your message, move on. Because here's what I guarantee you 100%. When you avoid unnecessary responses, once your message has been conveyed, the other person's reactions and their behavior will usually validate your words. You can bank on that. I'm not making it up. Look it up. Once you convey your message and somebody doesn't like it, their behavior and their reaction to it will validate what you said one way or the other. Don't believe me? Try it. The next time you're in a situation, excuse me, and you and you disagree with somebody and you've made your point and you close your mouth and you let them say whatever it is they're going to say, every shot doesn't have to be answered. Every volley doesn't have to be returned because no response is a response and it is the most powerful response. And I promise you, whoever you're dealing with and whatever the topic is, their response and behavior will validate whatever it is you said that set them on fire. Promise. So there's two things I want you to remember tonight. Let them validate what you've said. Let them validate the message that you've conveyed because they will. That's number one. And number two is never give the enemy a seat at your table. So, for example, if you know somebody's practicing bad behavior, they're misbehaving one way or the other now, we're not delving too deep. We're just talking about people who are practicing bad behavior, right? If you know that they're doing that, they'll validate your message. They will, because it'll set them on fire. How do I know? Some experience of my own. But never give the enemy a seat at your table. Never. Don't ever allow people who are practicing bad behavior to sit at your table. Because you know what happens? Association leads to assimilation. That's the fact. That's number one. And number two is quit while you're ahead. Once your message is conveyed, quit. You don't need to do anything else. You don't need to go back and forth. You don't need to prove anything. You don't need to defend yourself. What you actually do will stand for you. The same way they validate your message, validate your character by ignoring them. Okay? Don't go back and forth with people. Don't give the enemy a seat at your table. And don't you dare think that because somebody attempts to make you look bad because they behave bad and you've called them out on it, ignore them. They're not worth the time and the energy. You already said what you had to say. So once you say what you have to say, move on. Move on. I came on tonight because I got a ton of phone calls about some things. And I said, hey, listen, this is my response. No response. Okay? They can have it all. Keep talking. Make me famous because that's what you do. Let them make you famous because that's what they're doing. But once you convey your message, they will validate it. Hey, for those of you who are out here validating messages, no matter where they come from, and you don't like them, keep doing what you're doing. Your slip is showing. And it's dirty. Okay. And anybody can wear a slip, male or female. No response. is a very powerful response. You ever been in a situation, for example, hey Josh, a lion doesn't concern themselves with the opinion of the sheep. Remember that. That comes from a very, very astute young man who was crafted, in his gift. You know you're a lion. They know you're a lion. Sheep don't know who they are. Leave them alone. Because at any moment, you know, uh, you could handle that business, but you choose not to. So don't. The opinion of sheep don't matter. You got to call a spade a spade. If people are misbehaving, they've been misbehaving. Their behavior doesn't change. They think they're better than everybody else. They have a sense of entitlement. They go through changes because they think they're different. Leave them where they are. I promise you, in any given situation where there's a disagreement, they will validate your message of entitlement along with a few other things. And so, when you're in a disagreement, make your point, convey your message, and move on. Don't waste your time fighting with sheep. They know you're a lion. You know you're a lion. Leave those sheep alone. I want to thank you for joining me here this evening. This is a short podcast. This is one of our, pop-ups on a Wednesday where we're not going to take too much time. The podcast is from 10 to 12 minutes. My name is Annette Latique. I'm the host here at Word on the Curb podcast. We're here every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Join us. You want to come on live? Anytime you feel like you want to have some discussion about what's on a podcast, feel free to join us. We'll go live with you, and it doesn't matter who you are. Okay? Again, my name is Annette Latique. You can see us on YouTube. You can see us on Spotify. You can see us on Apple. You can hear us on Sirius Radio. And I want to shout out my producers, Frank and Christina Sasso. And I'd like to thank the man, Josh Waring, who got me started in podcasting. And I appreciate it and him. Thank you, Josh. Keep doing what you're doing. You can come on live anytime you want. Any of you who want to have the discussion, the mic is open. Tap it if you're brave enough. Have a good night. Thank you.